What's up, guys? This is Andrew over here at Impact Gaming, and I'm going to take a look at, for you Zerg players out there at least, this is going to be what I'm titling a bronze guide to get out of bronze. What do I mean by that? Well, after watching some streams, paying attention to some games, I've noticed a very good method of mine that happens to work. I get very, very high win streaks, things like that. I think my max win streak was like 30 in the last season. I haven't gone up yet just because I hadn't played this season just 'cause I've been very busy with things, but I mean, this method I have should work if you want to give it a shot. So, sit back, relax, and I'll explain to you my method. Alright, so the game starts out as normal, all your drones go out automatically thanks to the new Wings of Liberty patch, which I'm enjoying very much so far. Um, me and my opponent are having a little conversation, and my main idea is this. First thing you want to do, as soon as your mineral count gets to 50 over here, you want to get 3 more mineral drones and place them, wherever you can, wherever there's no drone on, of course. Now, at the 9th drone, you don't want to build another drone. Rather, you want to go and build another overlord. My opponent here went straight for the drone. I mean, some people do a different method, like some of the people in streams where they'll build a 10th drone and then go for an extractor and then cancel to get 11th drone. But you'll see why I like my method better. You go overlord first, then you go for a 10th drone once you have enough minerals for that. But the main reason why is this: once the overlord builds, you won't like. The main key of a plan in this game, I'm going to pause it quick. The main key to a plan in this game is to, for lack of better words, keep your mineral count low, actually. Because, hold on, damn it. Because you don't want your mineral count to, be too high and you not using your minerals to their full extent. You want to make sure that your count is normally low. Like, if it gets high, it does. I normally just forget to use my minerals wisely, but one of the main things I've realized in most games and most streams, one of the main things you want to do is keep this mineral count normally low. So that's the first hint, just for all of you. Anyway, once first overlord is built, you build 4 more mineral drones. You want to make sure your supply is at 14. All drones are minerals. And just as a separate note, especially for you Zerg players, you always send your, I know everyone knows this, you always send your first overlord over to your opponent's base. You scout quick, you get a look at what they're doing. It's always nice because you get to see, what they're doing and everything. Now, and then your second overlord should go right about here. This is good in case, your opponent sends a drone scout, or maybe they're rushing, you see the Lings coming by, or the Marines. You always want to place on that first ramp, just so you can get a look at what's coming at you. Anyway, after that, so like I said, 14 mineral drones, and then your 15th drone, you're going to send right over here. Or you're sorry. Well, I was delayed a bit here, but you're going to send them right there, and you're going to build a hatchery. You're going to start off with the second base right away. Now, why does that work out better? Well, you'll see here you'll see here what I do here. After you make your base, and after you know that you have plenty of minerals, 1 more mineral drone, and you get another drone for a spawning pool. Normally right here next to the base. Now, here's why I do this. A hatchery normally takes, I'm completely estimating here, I have no idea. Let's say roughly 3 minutes to build. A spawning pool takes 2 minutes. Again, roughly, it's probably less than that. But anyway, this works to your advantage. Your hatchery can build. It can build. By the time the spawning pool finishes, and now you can get Lings and Queens, your other hatchery should finish at just about the same time. So because of that, again, this is more about using your minerals to their best extent, to getting the most bang for your buck. So when you do that, your hatchery can build, you have more larvae, you still have a good intake from minerals because you have to wait for the spawning pool to finish, of course. And then by that point, when they're both finished, you can go queen, queen, and then just drone, drone, drone. It's a lot easier to build units when you already have your second base ready, producing larvae, and good to produce units. So anyway, so now after that, now I'm going to fast forward a bit, just because at this point, it's just waiting for everything to build. Now the next thing you want to do, hold on, I'm trying to get back to my perspective. Anyway, yes, the next thing you want to do is that you want to do this. You want to, now I know I end up speeding past this, I'll go back a little bit. You want to do this. Once you have your spawning pool built, once everything's built, you build a 16th mineral drone. You go for the 16th mineral drone. Now, I'm sorry, this is for some reason slowing down. Now, once you build your 17th mineral drone here, then you want to take whatever drone comes over here and gets its last mineral. Again, this is all about best mineral gain per period of time. So once, like, say, for example, this mineral brings its deposit to the base, you're going to immediately click it, and you're going to build it into an extractor. And now the reason why I do this is because one of the other things I've seen in streams, gas count, I mean, like, this is something that I've established myself. The quicker you have a gas count, the easier it's going to be later on to get the tougher units when your opponent starts macroing. And like, for those of you who may not know, macro is basically like upgrading buildings, getting new units. Like for Terran, it'd be like like building a Ghost Academy to get ghosts, or like building an armory so you can get Thors, like etc. So one of the main things I've learned here is that the quicker you get a Vespene count going, the better. Which is why this method works for me, because the spawning pool is building, so you're not building, like, you're not spending your minerals on lings or on queens. The second hatchery's been built, so it's like you're not even like trying to do mass drone production. So at this point, when you have like a solid 15, 16 mineral drones, you have a good enough count that if you spend 25 on just 2 extractors, then you're fine. But again, you don't want to just use 2 drones and then have your production slow. So you'll see, I don't build my extractors until I know that I have a 17th drone building to get minerals. Because then I know by that point my supply is high enough that if I build an extractor, I still have a lot of drones remaining at home. So anyway, so like I said, so like that drone just finished extracting, then it goes to build an extractor. So now now that's my 16th drone. Once I get a new 17th drone right there, again, I find my closest unit, let it bring its mineral, and then build it to an extractor. Now here's the last part of my main beginning strategy. After that, once your 16th drone is built and you have 2 extractors building, then you go for a new overlord. Now why that? Same thing. The overlord has to build, and until it's produced, you're stuck at 18 supply. So if you start it now, by the time you get, say, 2 more drones out, or you get 2 ling units or a queen or whatever the hell you end up building, by that point, then your overlord will be done, and you'll have enough minerals to keep that supply going. That's, again, the main key. You need to make sure that your supply stays, like, you need to have wiggle room. So, like, if your opponent rushes you here and you need to build 3 ling units right away, you don't want to be at your supply cap. You want to have a small amount of room between your max amount and your supply cap to build those last minute units if you need them. Which is why here, like I said, once that 16th mineral drone is in place, and once the 2 extractors are building, you're in a pristine enough condition that you don't necessarily that you'll have wiggle room to keep it going, and you'll still be able to start with your overlord, and you'll be able to get your supply count up by that point. Okay, so now that we have that established, I'll put it on like faster ×2. Sorry, that's just me talking to him. So now at this point, spawning pool is completed, and overlord's completed, which is where my effect comes into play. Now that you have enough supply, you can start your queen at your base without worrying about maybe building more drones for the hatchery when it's about to finish, or worrying about building more drones for your extractor, which I'll talk about next. Like, you need to make sure, like I said, that you have that cushion, which is why I play this the way I do. So at least now you get a better idea of why I do that. So anyway, now at this point, this is happening. Now I get 2 drones ready for the extractor, and I send one of my mineral drones out to the extractor too. Now why do I do that? I've been making all this stress, about how, mineral drones go here. Why would I move one to the extractor? Well, if you look, other hatcheries complete. So my mineral count will literally only be down by 1 drone for the Vespene, but at the same time, I will still have right down here another working, functioning mining base to get minerals from. So that's why this works out so well. And then also, just for another fact, just for another little thing, your other overlord, when it's finished, should be going about here, like I said. You want to keep these ramps under control for your first 2 overlords. You want to see if your opponent's sending units after you. So that's just the best way to do it. That's just a side note. So anyway, so now I've got my cocoons going. I'm getting mineral drones there. Again, working towards a whole, getting the most bang for your buck. So anyway, and now I have a full 3 workers on a Vespene count. Because I don't need anything yet, there's no Roach Warren, there's no, there's nothing yet that requires Vespene. But it's good to have the count now, so that later on, when you do need it, you have a good amount to keep going. Okay, now we'll keep going from there. So anyway, so drone, Queen's building, Queen's building to get more larvae. I set up a queen there already. Now, this is going to be your one problem, and this is a problem that I have personally when I'm playing this game. The fact that you send your Overlord to scout. You'll look at what's going on, you'll get an idea, but there are a lot of times where I'll even forget it's there, and then by the time I look back, I realize, oh wait, I'm about to lose supply. So this is something, a warning. It's a warning for myself too, because I make this exact same mistake all the time. So the one thing that you all need to look out for, myself included, is that you need to move your Overlord back. Like once you get an idea of what's going on, like once you see if a spawning pool's obvious or a Roach Warren's obvious, I know what I need to know. Get out of there. But you'll see. But I'll see the reason why, like I said, you got to keep this cushion is in case something like this happens. My only problem is that once this happens, I may have an Overlord queued. I don't even remember, but it doesn't matter because I always forget about this Overlord dying. So that's just something to look out for, something for me to look out for too. But I mean, it's something. But this is why I named this video a bronze guide to bronze, because I still make mistakes and I learn from my mistakes. I can talk about them here, like when I post other videos. So learn from my mistakes and try to think about your own and use this to get better. Anyway, so I'll fast forward. He dies. I realize, wait, I need more Overlords. I go here. Now here, I get some lings out. Why so fast? Why am I not focusing, like how I've said, on the supply count and on things like that? Well, one of the main problems with bronzes, for those of you who've played multiple times know, is rushing. Is that your opponent will sometimes get spawning pool, direct attack. So to keep my method going, as much as my method works, I will admit that there is a very small sense of a openness to people attacking early. So the best way to stop that is that as soon as your spawning pool completes, get only two groups of lings. It's easy enough to defend with a queen or your drones even. You can send your drones in and have them attack, and then at least that way you're protected enough you can survive whatever comes at you. Alright, so that's the main thing. So anyway, Evo Chamber. Not as important in this one, very important in Zerg v Zerg. Roach Warren and Evo Chamber should be your first 2 buildings normally. I mean, I know plenty of people who will go Bangling Nest. I understand that Banglings are too controlling, are too confusing to me. I'll build a ling, I'll try to think about making it to a Bangling, I'll forget, I'll go into a battle, I'll be morphing it, and then they'll just kill it. There are a lot of things me personally, I can't handle going between remembering to change into Bangling and not changing. So I don't do that personally. I prefer just a Roach Warren. But the reason why that the Evo Chamber is so important is the fact that your drones can build into Spore Crawlers. Spore Crawlers are especially necessary in when you're facing a Zerg or a Terran. Because Terrans, I've had plenty of times, Terran just immediately go after me with cloaked banshees. I can't do anything to stop them because I can, maybe my Overlord is taking too long to go an Overseer or something like that. But if you have a Spore Crawler, not only is that literally defense against them, if they come around the side, it attacks them. But at the same time, you're not gonna be caught off guard. You can move your queen there, you can attack. You're not gonna be scrambling around moving around your units constantly and wasting your time. So that's why the Evo Chamber is important. And just as a counter note, when you're facing Zerg, they can build roaches, and then roaches can burrow underneath and tunnel with the tunneling claws. I mean, roach was the second I can't show you, but that's the other thing. You want to have that Evo Chamber. You want to be able to build one Spore Crawler here to see a Banshee flying by or roaches coming through, and then you can attack them. It's just a heads up. It's not meant to be this is what you have to do. It's just a heads up for people who may not know very well. Alright, so anyway, so time goes by. Now, this is now I know I've been saying a lot of tips, But in my plan session, like how I actually play, I know I spend a lot of time, just like giving you guys tips. Here's the next part of my plan. My plan is this: get a good count, about about like 20 something units, like 20 Zerglings. At this point, which I forgot to mention before, you should be researching metabolic boost. This again goes with the whole Vespene count. The Vespene count, it gets your Vespene, but at the same time, while you may not have like a Roach Warren finish, and you may not have use for that Vespene, that big like amount that you have extra, you can use to get metabolic boost to speed up your Zergling speed, because that is actually very key in most games. And a lot of people I think underestimate Zerg speed, because with Zerg speed you can outrun other Zerglings, you can outrun Zealots, you can like speed up past spine crawlers and defenses. So don't underestimate Zerg speed, especially if you use my plan for the early Vespene. Alright, so time goes by, it's finished, they're faster. Now, like I said, once you have your 20-something lings, this is the time where you go out and you send you send a bit of an early rush. This is used mainly as harassment, mainly because you zip past anything he has here, you go and you attack the drones in the mineral line and you get them. But at the same time, if your opponent is that much of a novice that they may not have that many units out ready, you can just end the game right here. I think I actually did with this, but you'll see why. So we'll go past this, and now I'm sending the units out. There they go. Now I wonder if I can get to you to watch what I do. And I'll show you why I want to see that, because I want to show you what I'm doing while my lings are out, okay? My lings are out, but at the same time, I'm building creep tumors. I'm checking my queens. I'm doing so much more than moving my lings. Regardless, I put them in the wrong place. But my point is this, and also I missed this. But my point is this: one of the main things you want to make sure you're doing when you're in any game, and this is this is really what separates bronze people from silver and gold, really, is macro. Because macro, what you do is this. In my hotkeys, I have my first hatchery for when the game starts. I can look around. I can just hit 1, and then S for larva, and then D for drone, and it automatically goes I have second key is my second hatchery, and then my third key is both hatcheries. So I can get all my larvae together. I can say 8 lings, 8 roaches, whatever. My point is this: if you the point is when a battle starts, you should definitely have these units what you're looking at, and we'll see what you're up against. If my opponent had 12 roaches waiting for me, I would just turn back. I would just leave them there and wait for a later time until I get more units. But if you start with this and you see he has a spine crawler, and at first I was worried, but if you keep looking, other than the spine crawler, all he has is a queen. That's all he has. I mean, I managed to cancel this hatchery, which was great for me because I managed to stop his unit count, but still, my point is the fact that by this time, all I see on my screen is a spine crawler, a hatchery, and a queen. And I didn't notice the roach. It's our roach. It's not an army of roaches that I'm not going to be able to fend off. So you'll see, especially when he gets his units there, what I managed to do for myself is just say to myself, okay, these lings, this massive amount of lings can handle this. I'm gonna go back to my own base and start paying attention to this once I realize it happens. But the point I'm trying to make here is that you want to assure yourself that you're not focusing too much on the battle at hand, because if you do, you're gonna miss what's happening at home. I got lucky enough, I noticed this. I built plenty of lings, I got more roaches, and I sent them to attack them, so that my base didn't get destroyed. But you'll see that in a couple seconds. So he attacks. He sends his units directly into my first base. Now, the reason why is because he didn't expect me to have a second base. Which is also why this works. If your opponent is one of those people who just goes straight for your first base, if they happen to succeed in killing it, you still have a second base you can mine from, you can build units from, and you can build units from, like I said again, to attack his. And then you can rebuild if it gets destroyed. You'll still have your Roach Warren, all your buildings to build units from as a Zerg. The fact is that with a second base right away, you have a safety net. either if your opponent rushes and kills this base, you still have your first, or if your opponent rushes later on and gets your first right away, you still have your second. That's where my plan comes in, and that's why I want to show you that. So anyway, game's still going on. You know, I spent a little bit too much time focusing on that. Like, as you can see, like when I paused it, I was still looking over here because I wasn't sure. Still, like, you know, there was still a spine crawler. I still saw roaches, so I wasn't sure. So I focused on this. But once I saw the spine crawler go down, once I knew I still had X lings, I went right back to my base. I'm like, you know what? They know to attack. They'll attack. So then I focused on my main base. So I noticed, okay, I have these roaches. Let's send them after them. So the roaches are going there, they're attacking, and in the meantime, I immediately, because of my control keys, because I have my hatcheries on my control key, I immediately click on 3, select, I build my units, and I'm like, you know what, in case my roaches die, because in case he attacks my roaches and doesn't stop attacking my base, I'll have lings there to finish off whatever the roaches can't. Luckily for me, as we'll see, he goes directly into it, and he just, you know, like, he doesn't stop attacking the base because he thinks he has it. But I managed to fend off the attack, and then what's the worst case scenario in this? I just built a ton of units. Well, guess what? They're Zerglings. They're fast. I can send them directly from here to the bottom to finish off whatever these lings can't. No, I know what I mean. Pretty much after that, that's pretty much the end of the game. Like, I knew at this point, you know, he didn't have a second base because he didn't go there. I assumed he didn't have anything. So I, at this point, just went straight for the kill shot. And I'll fast forward this a little bit. You know, you know what? You know what? Let's make this go a little faster. I send those lings there. I let them finish off whatever's left. I get more lings. I send them in there. Like, at this point in the game, when you know your opponent has little to nothing left, and that you have money to burn, which I did. And by the way, I just want to show you something. Just look at this. 828 Vespene, 1625 minerals. If anything happened at all, I could have easily built 2 more queens on each, gotten larva. I mean, I know 2 queens would not, like, you know, I could have increased my creep spread. I could have gotten plenty of spine crawlers. Like, if he had really been in that good of a position, I have enough left that I can go crazy. You know, that is all. Like, again, as I said, you know, you want to be mineral efficient. In the beginning, mineral efficient is key. When you're later on, if you have, like, a pretty good amount of minerals, like using, if you get up to, like, the 2,000 range, 3,000 range, I got pretty close to, I'll admit, this wasn't one of my better focused games, that's when you're in trouble. Because then at that point, you have way too much left to not be spending it, you know, on upgrades, which I should have done, on more buildings, on, like, a layer upgrade, which I should have done. Like, there were so many things I should have done that I didn't. But again, I'm only a bronze. I don't know. Like, I'm still working on it. And I hope that this helps you guys work on it too. I'm sorry for that noise in the background. But anyway, my point is that this is just a video for my version of the best startup as a Zerg. So use it, work on it, get an idea of how it works for you, you know, get better. Because if you get better, then we don't seem like such idiots in bronze. Alright, but I mean, you know, just to end, he tries to build units. You know, like, these lings don't finish it. Like I said, I just sent these lings right after. Kill shot. You know, he leaves. He doesn't GG, which I was very upset about. But I mean, you know what? I won. It was a fair game. He was a fair opponent. You know, he had the early rush idea. You know, but mine was a little better. All right, guys. So, I hope this helps out. I hope you guys enjoyed. I mean, for all you bronzes out there, don't worry. We'll keep on ladder and we'll get up there soon. All right, guys. Hope you had a good day, and I'll see you guys next time.